Nintendo Direct fever is in the air once again. All of a sudden, everyone's talking about this Nintendo Direct that is potentially coming on February 13th. And I'm just kind of sitting here thinking to myself, why? We just had this awesome January Nintendo Direct that I made a predictions video about. I think all of my predictions were spot on, and we got so much information during that Nintendo Direct. It was just great. Alright, so there wasn't a January Nintendo Direct, and I'm gonna have to take an L on that. It really made sense for there to be one, but for whatever reason, Nintendo did not do a January Nintendo Direct. So a lot of these games that have been announced, games like Daemon X Machina, Fire Emblem, do not have release dates. So a lot of people are wondering, when the hell is this Nintendo Direct coming? There's so much information to talk about. This is supposed to be Nintendo's big year with the Switch, so what is exactly going on? Well, today, an insider posted on the resetera forums that a Nintendo Direct is coming on February 13th. So I want to look at who this insider is, what their track record is, see what they had to say about it, and then sort of bring together other elements that are also happening that may give this rumor some credence. So what is going on with this? What is this Nintendo Direct that's supposedly coming on February 13th? Sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into it.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So as usual, I don't like to cover Nintendo Direct rumors unless they come from a somewhat credible source, someone who has a good track record, and once big websites start reporting on it, then I start to get a little bit more interested in it because I feel like there may be some more credence to it. Now this is coming to us from a gentleman named King Zell from the resetera forums. Now admittedly, I was not too familiar with who King Zell was, but looking at his track record, it seems like he does have sort of an ear to the streets. It seems like he knows what's going on. He has predicted things correctly in the past before with previous Nintendo Directs. The World Ends With You Final Remix, which was unannounced. He actually teased that before it was announced. He also had some good information on the Pokemon Let's Go reveal event, and he also hinted that Animal Crossing was going to be announced during last year's September Nintendo Direct before that happened. So once again, the track record is pretty decent. It seems like this dude seems to know what he's talking about, and basically he took to the resetera forums and said the following: 13 is your lucky number, and am out. So basically a lot of people started freaking out about this. Now this was in a forum post talking about an upcoming Nintendo Direct because obviously a lot of people are expecting a Nintendo Direct. So by saying 13th is the lucky number and am out, he's basically saying February 13th is the day to expect with this Nintendo Direct. Now King Zell also talked about some games that were going to be at this Nintendo Direct event. So I want to go over these games and then talk about some things that have happened this past week that may be giving this rumor some weight to it because it seems like there's something big coming up. So the first game mentioned is Pikmin 3, which is kind of a head scratcher to me. I guess they could be porting over Pikmin 3 from the Wii U. I'm not really big into the Pikmin series. It's never been a series I've really been invested in, but it seems like Pikmin 3 could be the next Wii U game to get ported to the Nintendo Switch. I honestly would prefer Xenoblade Chronicles X. I absolutely love that game, but it seems like Pikmin 3 may be getting ported over. Now, of course, Pikmin 4 is supposedly almost done, but there is a rumor going around that that project has been completely scrapped when it was nearing completion. Maybe Nintendo wasn't too happy with the final product. The next game I want to talk about is some sort of Box Boy that is hinted at. Now, Box Boy obviously was a 3DS title. It wasn't super popular. It was a decent game for what it was, but it seems like there could be a new Box Boy game announced at this event as well. Kind of an outside pick, kind of a weird thing to sort of focus on, but there could be a new Box Boy coming to the 3DS or potentially the Nintendo Switch, according to this rumor. The next game is a pretty big game though, and that's Super Mario Maker 2. Now, Super Mario Maker, of course, was a huge hit on the Wii U. It was streamed on Twitch and YouTube Gaming. It was a huge hit because people could create your own Mario levels and then play those Mario levels. Now, admittedly, I'm not a very creative person when it comes to designing my own levels, so I never really got into the level creation aspect of it, but I definitely had fun playing some of these other levels. In Super Mario Maker 2, there's a lot to build on from the Super Mario Maker elements in it. You know, you had some basic Mario designs and Mario level designs in that game, but there was definitely room for improvement. Things like hills, you know, basic things that some of these Mario games offer were not offered in the original Super Mario Maker. Now, what will be interesting is how you create these levels on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, the Wii U had that dedicated gamepad, which made it very easy. And once again, the Nintendo 3DS, which also got a Super Mario Maker port, also had a touchscreen to create these levels pretty easily. Now, of course, you could do a lot of things with the Nintendo Switch touchscreen, but if you're in handheld mode, there's not really a second screen that you can use. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think a lot of people would be very excited for a Super Mario Maker 2 because it was a great game on the Nintendo Wii Wii U. It really sort of broke down barriers at what you could do with a 2D Mario game as far as creating your own levels. People got super creative with that game, so that would be a huge thing. The next game that's rumored for this is the mainline Pokemon game that is supposed to be coming in 2019 to us from Game Freak. Of course, we just had Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, but there is supposed to be a mainline Pokemon game, not an offshoot game, coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2019, and I think a lot of people are definitely anticipating what that game is going to be, and a lot of people are excited for that as well, so it'd definitely be cool to see that, and pretty much to see the evolution of Pokemon on the home console. The next game King Zell talks about is the Metroid Prime Trilogy HD Collection. Will probably be at this event. Of course, this is something that's been heavily rumored for months and months now. A lot of people thought, myself included, that it would be at the Video Game Awards 2018 back in December, but for whatever reason, it was not at that event. Of course, Metroid Prime 4 has been indefinitely delayed. We don't have a timetable for that, so I think some Metroid love on the Nintendo Switch is a good idea. I think the Metroid Prime Trilogy definitely exists as coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's just a matter of when it comes, and it could be at this event. And the final thing that's rumored is a 2D Zelda game, and that's got me kind of scratching my head, because what system would this be on? Is it for the Nintendo Switch or is it for the 3DS? Obviously the 3DS is on its way out. You know, it's had a million Zelda games on it. If you look at the library of Zelda games on there, there's a ton of Zelda games. You even had offshoot Zelda games on there. So would a 2D Zelda game be coming to the Nintendo Switch? You know, maybe a top-down adventure or a side-scrolling adventure in this vein of Zelda 2? I don't know. There's a lot you could do with that. There's a lot of potential and a lot of possibilities with a 2D Zelda game. Obviously, Nintendo wants to do more Zelda games. It's something that's been heavily rumored and heavily talked about, so there could be a new 2D Zelda game at this event. And honestly, I think that would be pretty cool. It would be interesting to see what they would be able to do with a 2D Zelda game in 2019. And that is the end of King Zell's rumor. Now, as far as what I think about it, I think there's a lot of things that make sense here. You know, obviously Nintendo kind of has to do a Nintendo Direct. There's a lot of games coming out that we don't know about. We don't know about release dates. They need to start showing these things in the month of February potentially, so why not have a Nintendo Direct in the month of February? What's kind of funny to me is, if you guys don't know, I am in the process of moving, and February 13th is when I actually get the internet set up in my new place, so it's kind of like, you know, whenever I go out of town, it seems like there's a Nintendo Direct, so that rumor, you know, kind of just leads me to believe, you know, it probably will happen on Wednesday, because I'll be getting my internet set up and I'll kind of be a bit behind. Now, what's very interesting about this, though, is that there were some other leaks this past week. Emily Rogers came out and said there are up to 11 unannounced Nintendo Switch first-party titles that are being worked on right now that we don't know about. And, you know, Emily Rogers has a pretty good track record, I feel. You know, she's been right about a lot of things, she's been wrong about some things, but I feel like she's more right than wrong in most instances, so a lot of people are interested in what is happening with that, and what a better chance, you know, than a Nintendo Direct to talk about some of these, like a 2D Zelda or Super Mario Maker 2, two unannounced games. And then we also had another leak this past week from a European website called Base.com, that is a UK online retailer, which gave us potentially 3 release dates for upcoming Nintendo Switch games. Daemon X Machina they have for a pre-order that's coming out on May 24th, which I definitely think makes sense. That's sort of a springtime, you know, early summer, late spring release to me. When I first saw it, I thought that would be a good time slot for it. They also said that Luigi's Mansion 3 would be coming on July 19th. That's a little bit weird in my opinion. You know, I definitely feel like Luigi's Mansion should be more of a fall game. And they also said Animal Crossing arrives on September 13th. I would probably put that game in the summertime slot, but I guess it does sort of make sense. Animal Crossing is a huge phenomenon. You know, it sells very well every time a new entry comes out. Animal Crossing, of course, on the 3DS, outsold Smash Brothers on the 3DS. There's a huge market for Animal Crossing, so I guess a more holiday-style release for Animal Crossing would make sense. And that's pretty much what I got for you guys here. So there's a lot of rumors going around. You know, it looks like there could be a Nintendo Direct on February 13th. We've got Base.com saying that these are some release dates coming out. There are a lot of games that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch. Games like Daemon X Machina, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion 3, Fire Emblem that do not have release dates. So it's time. It's time for a damn Nintendo Direct. And honestly, I hope it happens. Even if I have to be late to the coverage on next Wednesday because of my internet situation, you know, I'll still be happy that there's finally a Nintendo Direct. We finally have some answers and we finally have some fun stuff to talk about. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this leak. Do you think King Zell tell is just talking out his ass? Or are you expecting there potentially to be a Nintendo Direct next Wednesday the 13th? And if so, are you excited for it? What do you expect to see at this event? And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. Like I've said in previous videos this past week, uploads are going to be a bit more sporadic. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm doing here with moving and stuff like that. Moving is never fun. So I'm going to do the best that I can. I've got some cool stuff coming out next Tuesday. If you're an old school Sega fan, you're definitely going to want to tune in next Tuesday morning. I've got a big exclusive announcement that is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's a really cool thing. So I'm definitely very excited to talk with you guys about that. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.